Hey guys, this is Mark Moore, and I wanted to take a little bit of time and take you through the journey of us looking at purchasing a house, the struggles that we've had with Ray Bullins construction. I just kind of want to take you chronologically from beginning to end. I want to explain in the process where we were, information that was missing, and information that we found later. Hopefully for new buyers and people that are approaching Ray Bullins of Ray Bullins construction will have a better understanding of how this would unfold if you were a new buyer like myself and my wife. My wife is named Lisa. So I'm going to reference some people in the video. I'm going to tell you who they are. I would encourage you to follow along, take some notes if you are absolutely serious about using Ray Bullins construction or have contacted Ray with the approach of a build or some sort of work through him. Just once again, this is only my experience. I don't have any background experience with this individual. This is just the first time interaction, and I just want to take you guys kind of through that chronologically on how everything unfolded. It is going to take a little bit of time to kind of get through everything. I grabbed a water because more than likely it'll end up being a lot of talking, and I just want to make sure that we get everything. So first and foremost, my wife and I, of course, I'm Mark Moore. My wife is Lisa Moore. We were in the process, and we still are technically in the process of, do we want to buy a house? Do we want to build a house? Okay. And we ended up finding a lot that was a bare lot, a raw lot that was owned by Ray Bullins Construction. We figured out what it was going to take in order to set up a meeting with him, and we ended up getting in contact with an individual named Tracy Turner. And she basically was our middleman or middlewoman here who did an absolute amazing job at navigating these waters as we tell the story. So absolute great credit for her and what she went through, and is at this point in time is still going through as everything has not wrapped up. I do want to just once again take you guys through that. I want to do a factual based conversation about things that unfolded, how it unfolded, what did we know at points in time, and then what did we know at the end. And that's going to hopefully just educate you a little bit more on what you're getting into if you are approaching or thinking about going through Ray Bullins of Ray Bullins Construction for a build. So first and foremost, we found a lot. When I say we, Lisa and I, we kind of went around, we looked at what we wanted out of a lot, and we found one. And it was owned by Ray Bullins Construction. So Tracy Turner set up a meeting with Ray at the lot to discuss some just some preliminary stuff that we were going to go over. So we ended up meeting at the lot on April 21st. So we went down there. The people that were there during that meeting was Ray Bullins. It was Tracy Turner. It was myself. It was Lisa Moore, which is my wife, and then it was Jason Smith. And Jason Smith was, to my understanding, and I could be wrong here, he was basically the guy that was in charge of all the properties down there. He was kind of the HOA guy. I'm sure he's got another title. I'm sure he had another role, but that was at that conversation kind of how he was introduced of why are you here and what's your role? And it was really, hey, I'm here because you're here with a builder, and if you have any questions about what could be approved here, what may not be approved here, that's why I'm here. So that was Jason Smith. So that ended up being 5 of us there during this preliminary conversation. It was a lot about, what's involved, what do we have to do to build on this lot, what are we looking at as far as cost goes. I mean, what are the houses in this particular neighborhood range in as far as price goes. Okay, so this all took place once again on April 21st. So those are the questions that we asked right there. What does it cost for houses? He gave us a ballpark. He basically said it was $190 a square foot while the 5 of us stood there outside in a parking lot. Okay. A little bit of time went by, and we talked with Tracy and decided that we would go through with putting down a $5,000 deposit on the piece of property because that was one of the stipulations from Ray Bullins was, if you want to secure the property while we work out the details of the build, it's a $5,000 non-refundable deposit in order to secure the lot, basically. So on April 23rd, which is just a couple days later after meeting, we approached Tracy and had said, we want to go ahead and move forward under one condition. And that condition is that Ray holds the construction loan and not the bank. Now, let me explain myself here a little bit and why we wanted this and specifically requested this kind of a transaction. The reason why is because right now, it's difficult to get materials. It's difficult to finish a job. And what we didn't want to do was go through a bank, put 10% down, and end up paying a fee to the bank every month if this took 8 months, 10 months, 12 months, 14 months to finish this build. We're basically going to be taking time out of our day to move forward with this build, pay the bank, not really live in a house. And I'm going to tell you, that's kind of where our thoughts were, is that if he held the construction loan, he might be moving a little faster on it because the loan is in his name and he can't get it out of his name until we've signed it over to us. So it might be a little bit more direct push. It might be a little more forceful to pay attention to what's going on. And one of the ways that we kind of got to this conclusion was there's another house down there that was being built by him, and it didn't look like progress was really being made. Now, I have no idea how many builds he's doing at one time, but what I can say is I could see that it wasn't moving very fast. And I thought, do I really want to pay the bank every month on a portion of borrowed money, or do I want to pay Ray to hold the loan, and then maybe he'll move a little bit faster, right? So that's kind of where we were at with it. And you know, we kind of went back and forth of do we want to go through the bank, do we want to go through Ray? And that was the stipulation to moving forward was if you will take the $5,000 to hold the property and hold the construction loan, let's move forward, right? So on those are kind of the terms of the agreement. That was agreed to. So Tracy came by to our shop. We have a small business here in Kernersville, North Carolina. We're right around the corner from where Ray Bullins Construction is. She came by on the 23rd to pick up a check. So that was the way we were going to process and we were going to move forward. So at this point, she came by, she grabbed a $5,000 check. We gave it to her. She gave it to Ray, and all was good, right? Now we're down to what are we going to build, right? Everything's secured. So we ended up doing a walkthrough on what would be April 27th. We did a walkthrough on a house. So Ray had a house that was finished. It was something that was already done. The homeowners had already moved in, and he was able to get us into that house to kind of walk through it, which was awesome because we're not only seeing, you know, obviously he was building some new houses down around the same corner, but they weren't done. So this was an opportunity to see some stuff that was done. What does it look like? What does craftsmanship look like? And honestly, everything looked great. You know, we got in, everything was beautiful. Didn't look like there was any issues. Obviously the homeowners were already there, so they're already using the house, the facility. It didn't look like there was anything out of the norm. So we walked through a house on the 27th. And I say myself, Lisa Moore, you know, my wife once again, and Ray was there, and so was Tracy. Now, this is also when we were told it's $190 a square foot, okay? Once again, 21st, we had a meeting at the lot that we secured, and on the 27th, we were actually at a different customer's house, and it was also said again that was $190 a square foot, just several days later. So we walked through the house. We had seen some stuff that we liked. We seen some stuff we didn't like because everyone's taste not the same, and we kind of separated ways. Ray reached out to us again and said, "Hey, I've got a different build. Do you guys want to look through that house as well and maybe see if there's other things that you like, other things that you don't like?" Basically, he's really just trying to narrow us down to what are we building, you know? And it was definitely the appropriate way of doing it. So on May the 3rd, myself, Lisa, and Ray ended up going to a different house. Tracy was not there that day. It was just the three of us. We went through and walked through a different house. We looked at different things. We discussed other options and things like that at the second house. This was May 3rd. At that point, we separated ways again. And this is kind of where the confusion comes into place, I guess, with working with Ray, as we didn't discuss anything again until June 11th. So that means 39 days later, we had a meeting at his office. So he called us for a meeting at his facility, once again, right around the corner. When I say we, I mean myself, Lisa, Ray, and then Tracy was there. The four of us were sitting at a table at Ray's facility. And the idea was that we were here to work out details, once again, because at this point, we started the process April 21st, and now is June 11th, which is roughly, we're 55 to 60 days into where we started to where we are now, and all we've really done is walk through two houses. At this point, Lisa and I, as what would be the buyers, we haven't been quoted anything. I mean, we hasn't given us a cost on a house plan. We've looked at two houses that were already existing, but it was never like, hey, this is the plan we want. This is what the cost is. Let's iron out the details. We literally came down on June 11th and sat at a table, and the first thing he said to us was, okay, give me the details of what you guys want. And I was just kind of like, what do you mean, what do we want? Like, we walked through two houses. We told you about an island in the kitchen. We told you about, a couple of features of the house. Like, these were details that we did 39 days ago of key features that we wanted. But this is the point where he was asking again, which is your indication that nothing's happened in 39 days because we're asking the same questions again. So we overlook it. We tell him what we want. We give him the rundown again. What are we after? What's on our top checklist of what we want to have when we're buying a house, right? So we start getting through the process, and he pulls up a floor plan on one, and he goes into, and it's $200 a square foot. And I'm thinking, whoa, hang on, wait a minute. We literally just said in two different occasions with multiple people there, it's 190 a square foot. Fast forward 39 days later, we're 200 a square foot. Now, that's $10 more a square foot. I'm going to put a couple things into perspective without going into great details here. By changing from $190 a square foot to $200 a square foot, it's a $36,000 change in cost. Okay, literally just overnight, 39 days later, it's a $36,000 change in cost for the same floor plan that if we apparently would have signed on May 3rd would have been 190, and it's obviously 200 now. So super confused there. I set it aside. Let's table that conversation for a little bit later here. But we still have a lot of details to work out, right? We still have floor plans. We still have square footage. What does $200 a square foot mean based off of what square footage we're after to fit into our budget? Okay. So that was kind of some of the concerns that we had. But most importantly, it was, what are the terms of you holding the construction loan? Because that was the original agreement when we went into this day one before we even looked at houses, was you were going to hold the construction loan. So what are those terms? All right. What are the fees to do that? Blank face. I couldn't get a fee out of him. I didn't know. All I knew was I gave you $5,000 and there's 10% down for you to hold the construction loan, which we already knew. I mean, that was why we knew that going into it. But what we didn't know was, are there any other fees involved? Is there, a construction fee through the bank? What is that percentage? Okay. So I'm a little concerned here, sitting down at a table when an individual took $5,000 to secure a piece of property roughly 60 days ago, but yet doesn't have those numbers because that was the stipulation of going into this, right? So here we are, we're sitting down, and we kind of came to the conclusion that Lisa was really after a certain floor plan, which we were unable to walk through because it's a house that wasn't built all the time. And I totally understand that you can't just walk through houses that people own and live in. That's totally logical. So she had seen some pictures, she had seen some floor plans and things like that, and found a floor plan she really liked. So we were going to go through that, and what does that cost at $200 a square foot now? Well, it ended up being out of our budget. Okay, it was $36,000 more than what it was 39 days ago. And so here we are. All of a sudden, we start getting into the details of, okay, the house what we really want is over budget. We're all sitting down at the table, the four of us here. We're still at the office. And then all of a sudden, it pops up. Hey, I've got another floor plan that will fit your budget. Let me go grab it. So he goes and prints off another floor plan and kind of gives it to us. Now, granted, this is a house I've never seen any pictures of. I'm looking at a schematic. I don't know what schematics. I don't build houses, okay? And I don't know anything about this house. Literally, I'm sitting down at a table, right? And you just propose it to me. And where we're talking numbers, we're talking in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay? If $10 a square foot is equal to $36,000 in difference of cost, you can get a pretty good figure. It's high. So the idea here is he gives us a floor plan and he says, I can fit you into this floor plan on your budget. Okay. And at first we're kind of like, okay, well, maybe we could make some changes to this. Maybe there's a possibility here. But then we start asking some of the details. Lisa says, well, the original floor plan had a 3-car garage. Okay. And does this one have it? No, this one doesn't have it, but I can put that in there. That's what Ray says. Ray says, I can put that in there. It'll be in the cost. So I'm kind of running things through my head right now going, wait a minute. So you gave us a floor plan and I'm asking you what's included in the floor plan and you're just adding it to it, even though the budget's not changing. So if this is my budget, okay, over here, and this is how much you're trying to sell me the house for, there's technically a big difference here. I'm wanting to pay X amount of dollars, but the house is really only worth X amount of dollars, significantly less, because we're asking for all these things to be added to the house. And you're like, yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll add it. Don't worry about that. Okay, well, shouldn't you be telling me what I'm getting for what I'm buying? I mean, you are selling me a house, right? I'm not negotiating on what I can get for my money. I'm using your floor plan and you're supposed to be proposing what I'm buying, right? So I'm really confused here, right? So we don't have interest rates on if we go through you as our construction loan holder versus going through a bank. We don't know what that is. We don't know what 10% is because we really don't know what the total number of the house is, right? I know what my budget is. And of course, everything will fit my budget, right? Because you can build whatever you want to meet my budget that's less than my budget. And then there's extra profit there, right? So everything fits my budget. So, we're really getting confused here. So, and you can kind of see the gears turn in Ray's head. And it was a lot of, well, you'd be better off going through a bank instead of going through me. And I really don't want to hold the construction loan. It was literally said, I don't want to hold the construction loan, right? With all of it sitting there. It wasn't like it was mumbled or insinuated. It was said. Wait a minute now. We started this journey of depositing $5,000 into your bank with you holding the loan on good faith that we didn't even know what all the extra numbers were. You just agreed to it. And here we are. And we still don't have the numbers. And we still don't, in your side of the table, you still don't really want to hold the loan. So we break. I'm like, whoa, I got to go. I've got some questions. Before I leave, I'm given two pieces of information here. One, if you go through me, Ray Bullins Constructions, and you use us to hold a construction loan, there's absolutely zero refund on the 10% you're going to give me, okay? So there was $5,000, which was non-refundable. And here's my warning to you, Mark and Lisa, that if you decide to back out at any point in time, the 10% you put down to initiate this is gone. Okay, so I'm just like, well, that's a huge red flag. We're having issues now. We haven't even gotten into the details of a house, and all of a sudden I'm already warned I'm gonna lose my money if I back out. So there's your flag. That's not your first flag, but there's your flag. So then the second deal is, once again, this is May 3rd, is that, hey, this is a Friday, May 3rd. How about next Wednesday? I'm gonna pencil you guys in, Mark and Lisa and Tracy, to come back to my office and give me the details on what house you wanna move forward on. So let me get that straight. I've got 3 business days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because Wednesday of the following week my days are wrong. Wednesday of the following week, we were at his office on the 11th. Okay, so Wednesday of the following week was just several days later, 3 business days later. I've got some notes in front of me I'm trying to pull off of, guys. And so we're sitting there on the 11th, and he says, next Wednesday, you guys got to come by and tell me what you want to do. We got to move forward. So how do I move forward? I don't know what my 10% is. I don't know what my interest rate is by you holding the loan. You're encouraging me to go through the bank and not go through you, but yet that was where we originally started. I was thinking in my head, am I the only crazy one here? Because you guys are seeing this, right? Like between Lisa and Tracy, I'm kind of like this. I don't even have all the details. How am I supposed to do this? Like there aren't even details here. So I leave. I have a conversation Monday, I believe it was, with Tracy, and he explained it to her. Hey, it was supposed to be 190. Now we're at 200. We're asking about things that could be added on to this second house that was brought to the table that we are wanting, that are somehow affordable, but yet if we don't ask for them, then we don't get them, right? Because we never went through the process of what's actually included in our budget for our secondary house. It was just like, oh, you want that? Yeah, cool, we'll do it, right? So like, this is me. I just get what I ask for, and I may not get what I ask for. Like, shouldn't you tell me? So I just told Tracy, I was like, I cannot make a decision by Wednesday. It's impossible. I don't even know what 10% is. I don't even know what we're doing. So she goes back, and once again, she is a warrior here, because she's like, understanding where I'm coming from. She's getting the whole, I don't know how you would buy a house when you don't know what you're buying. And she's relaying to Ray, what is your interest rate? Here we are, 60 days into it. What is the construction interest rate on this? Because Mark and Lisa need to make a decision, because you told them they've got 3 business days. Where are we? Days go by, right? Days go by. So I'm looking at my notes down here, guys. I apologize. There's a lot of dates here trying to get everything together. So she's got a lot of questions for Ray. We start going back to the 190 versus the 200. Okay, we start going back to, we were quoted twice. People were standing there. No, Ray says, no, I never said that. No, I can't do it for that. Those kind of things. So we start getting pushback on that right pretty much middle of June, the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, right in that neighborhood. We're starting to get pushback on it. And so we start going through the process of getting all the details. We finally have gotten the details. I think today's the 24th or 23rd or 24th of June. I don't know what day it is. And we finally get the details. And those details are, if you want to move forward with this this house, it's a 4% construction loan hold. Okay, so I'm going to break some numbers down for you guys, okay? So we put $5,000 down. We've got to put 10% down on total value of house, okay? Minus the 5,000, that comes off of that. And then as the money is borrowed, or as Ray Bullins borrows the money from the bank, we're going to pay 4% on money that's borrowed, okay? So if he says, hey, I got to have $100,000 to start from the bank, we're going to pay 4% on $100,000 because that's what he's paying the bank to borrow the money. Okay, totally logical. I totally understand it. It's not that complicated. This is not that off the norm. I get it. Here's where it gets a little fuzzy. There's a $17,000 fee in order for Ray to do this. Yeah, so we just found that out, right? So, hey guys, thanks for the $5,000. But if you do decide that you want to go through me to hold the loan, which even though that was one of the stipulations, it's a $17,000 fee, and what that is that's a carrying fee. That just goes in my pocket for doing this for you. I'm baffled. I'm in awe that there's a $17,000 fee, that this is not part of the 10%. This is a carrying fee. This is I'm your friend and I'm building a house for you, and thank you for $17,000 fee. That's what this is. So it's really concerning now, because if you knew there was a fee, whether it was a percentage or it's a fixed fee, why didn't you say that when we put the money down for you to hold the loan? Okay. The idea here, and the way I'm receiving it as what would be the buyer, is that Ray really never had any intentions of holding the loan, unless he was going to make $17,000 for free to do it. The only difference is that was never actually spoken since the beginning. It was put $5,000 down and I'll hold the loan. Okay, I get there's percentages that are owed to the bank. I get there's 10% that's owed to you. This is all logical. What I didn't know is there was a hidden $17,000 fee that's due up front for me to do this for you. That's the part I didn't know. Okay, so a little misleading there. Let's talk about other things. we're going to keep working through this. There's other stuff. I apologize. This video is going crazy long. So we're down on that details. So at this point in time, we're like, is there any chance of getting any of this $5,000 back? Because quite honestly, I feel like I've just been misled from day one. Obviously, you've been building houses for 2 decades plus. So you probably should have known that this should have been disclosed at the beginning. You probably should have known that there was an interest rate because you agreed to hold the loan that should have been disclosed at the beginning. These are things that you should have known, and you would have told your buyer before you got into bed with him. But I'm going to explain to you why he wanted the $5,000, because I figured that out too. So as we go through this process, we're done. What do I got to do to get my $5,000 back, or is it just gone? Right? That's the answer to the question. You know, that was where we were just a day or two ago. Where is the money, and what options are still on the table here? Because we're not building a house through you, because we can't get any straight answers. So we did receive an email back through Tracy, and that was that out of the $5,000 that we deposited to Ray, or we handed to Ray on what would have been April 23rd, he is willing to give us back $1,278.99, or basically $1,279. Okay, so the long and the short of it is, we gave you $5,000. You're keeping $3,721 of those dollars, and then you're going to give me back $1,279. Why are you keeping it? Right. So it was in the email. I want to explain it to you. So the reason why he's keeping the $3,721 is because his time involved in this, and because of the lot fee that he is paying the bank because he owns the property. So in other words, he's sitting on a piece of property, he's paying for the property because we apparently wasted his time, and he's using that money to pay the bank. Now, let's back up a moment here because we walked through two houses, and that was the 27th of April and May 3rd. 39 days went by, and we sat down in your office on June 11th. 39 days. Okay, so this is where I'm understanding it. You have houses to build, not mine. Don't even care about my details. You've got houses to build, and what you want to do is find a sucker to pay you money to secure your lot so you're not doing anything on it until you're ready. And that's exactly where we are. So basically, he used our money to pay the bank because he had no intentions of actually building on that lot while we were not, the keyword here is not, working out the details of our build because 39 days passed. That is the truth. Plain and simple, black and white, factual. 39 days passed by with no communication, other than Ray is working on what interest rates cost because you didn't have it when we sat down at your office, right? And this is where you found the $17,000 fee to generously charge us if we'd like to move forward. So I have some notes here I want to talk about. I just some things that are on my mind, that are heavy on my mind, that I want to say. First of all, I want to talk about the quality of Ray Bullins construction. I don't have an opinion. Okay, I walked through some houses. The houses looked halfway decent. I don't live there. I was in two houses for probably an hour each house. Okay, I don't have anything to say about the quality of his construction. Let's talk about the duration. How long does it take to build a house? No idea. I haven't had anything built by Ray. Okay, so I don't want this video to come off as some kind of misunderstood slander of quality of service or duration of project. I don't know. So as far as I'm concerned, they're positive. He's done an excellent job at building houses, and he's the quickest guy that's ever done them that you'll ever meet. Is that the truth? There's no way of telling. There's no way of telling in the positive manner, and there's no way of telling in the negative manner. But I did want to address that for those that think that I'm just blatantly coming on here to tell negativity of the company. It's just not true. I don't know. Let's talk about material costs. I do understand that material costs have been high. I understand that certain things are going to be very difficult in order to acquire as the market is behind with COVID and places are trying to catch up. And I'm sure that builders are trying to readily build houses and get people in them as the market is on fire, literally. So with that being said, I don't think Ray has any control of that. I don't. However, I don't think that the 39-day span from $190 a square foot to $200 being a $36,000 difference in cost was an unforeseen circumstance, as material costs in May have started going down, not up. So it turns out being one of those deals where the cost has changed per square foot, and I do understand that goods that are sitting on someone's shelf and someone's floors now need to be bought at current day valued prices. I understand that. So if there's a shop that's got tons and tons of wood and they bought it at X amount of dollars, they've got to sell it at X amount of dollars in order for them to move it. And that doesn't necessarily reflect to future wood prices, right? And we're just using wood as an example here. However, I don't believe that a cost would be higher now in June. We haven't built anything yet, end of June, than it would have been in beginning of May or April, as prices are going down and obviously inventory is moving. So on the same hand, we did offer an opportunity of, could we reach the 190 mark? Are we maybe just outside of our ballpark a little if we waited? If we just let the market settle down a little bit, could we wait? The answer from Ray on that was no. I'm not interested in waiting. I've got another buyer who's interested in moving onto the lot, and I'd like to start building. So obviously he's not wanting to work with us on this. We were the cash cow that paid the 2 months rent due or lot fee due to the bank on that property. And I don't know whether someone's going to come in and just start building day one or this process starts over again. That's none of my business. It doesn't have anything to do with me, as I don't conduct business like that and I don't work for Ray Bullins Construction. So I don't know how he processes that. I do know he was not interested in extending the terms of our hold in order to move forward. Let's talk about time. Okay, and I don't mean duration of build, I mean physical time here. This is a big one that I have. This one weighs heavy on my heart and on my mind as an individual of morals, and character. I do run a small business here located in Kernersville, North Carolina. As we stated earlier in the business, we are right around the corners from Ray Bullins. We would never nickel and dime our customers to figure out a process. Somebody comes in, they want to have something done, they need a quote. We're not going to charge you for our time in order to figure out if you want to do it or not. And I'm not going to charge you time in order to figure out if you want to do it or not. Okay. And that's exactly what's been done here. But that's not really the point. The point is that out of the $5,000, the $3,721 that was kept was specifically listed as time invested. So me separating from our business, when I say me, I mean the wife and I, as we both left our business to walk through 2 houses, to go to your office and work through things, is valueless, according to you. Tracy Turner, who was the salesperson in the middle of this, her time is worth nothing to you because nobody else got paid except for Ray Bullins, right? Because his time has a value. But your time going there and working out through the details, ironing out the details, if you can even get through them. We couldn't figure out how to get through them. Go back and watch the video. There's a lot of confusion here. Is worth absolutely nothing to Ray. So that means that you're worth nothing to Ray when you're sitting in front of him. But he is worth everything to you because he's charging you. So that's something to take into consideration. That's factual. That's not a matter of opinion. He charged me $3,721 to do it. How much of that went to the actual lot, I have no idea. Once again, that's not any of my business. But it was roughly a 60-day hold between when we secured it and when we separated ways from Ray. So that's really concerning. As being a business owner, I would never treat anybody like that. I couldn't even fathom going to a dealership and saying, I'm interested in buying one of your trucks. And they say, give me $100 to go test drive it. Oh, you don't want it? There's no refund because you wasted my time. But that's exactly how we were just treated. And keep in mind, 39 days, I haven't even added the spare days between there, but 39 days between one walkthrough where no notes were taken because you asked the same questions again, and we got to your office, had passed and no progress had been made. So somebody was collecting on their time, but your time is worth nothing. So take that into consideration when you are pursuing going through Ray Bullins construction. Once again, this is all factual. Dates, times, people, right? I've got text messages that have been passed back and forth. I've got numbers that have been emailed on costs and fees. The problem with it is why did we not find out there was a $17,000 fee before we gave you $5,000? Why did we not find out that there was a 4% fee on holding the loan? I get it, there's a fee, but nobody knew what that number was until we were already 60 days into it. Like, I guess I'm naive to have gone through this process, or you're just an individual that takes advantage of people and you know exactly how to do it. I'm going to run you down a path. 60 days later, you're either going to pay me my $17 holding fee that I'm going to put in my pocket and laugh all the way to the bank, or you can take a hike and I'll keep your $5,000 and I'll claim it as my time's worth something and your time's worth nothing. It's disappointing, is what it is. Guys, take that in consideration. Unfortunately, I have disabled the comments on this video, and I'm going to be quite honest when I say it. I'm not trying to be rude. I don't want anybody to comment on it. I'm not looking for people to spout negativity. I'm not looking for people to explain this better or dissect this better. It has nothing to do with it. This is a story of we deposited money on a piece of property, we were swindled out of money, and my time's worth nothing. That's what the story comes down to. So I hate to say it like that. I don't mean to be rude about it, but this is not some kind of a growing conversation. This is literally a educational video for those who have not used Ray Bullins construction, have not met Ray, are considering going through Ray. This is an informational, educational video, how I experienced my process with Ray. Yours may be totally different. I don't know. But I can only speak for myself and I can only state facts based off of my experience.